Chapter 6. Artemis and Niobe. Artemis, the fierce goddess of the hunt, was revered by mortals and immortals alike for her strength and courage. But her wrath knew no bounds when her divine honor was slighted, as Niobe, a mortal queen, would soon discover to her sorrow. Niobe was a proud and boastful woman, renowned for her beauty and wealth, but her arrogance would be her downfall. She dared to challenge the gods themselves, mocking their power and authority in a display of hubris that would not go unpunished. Artemis, ever vigilant in her duty to uphold the honor of the gods, took notice of Niobe's arrogance and vowed to teach her a lesson she would not soon forget. And so she set out to confront the mortal queen, determined to humble her and restore the divine order. Niobe, however, was undaunted by Artemis's wrath, for she believed herself to be beyond the reach of the gods. She scoffed at Artemis's warnings, mocking her as a mere mortal with delusions of grandeur, and she continued to flaunt her wealth and power with reckless abandon. But Artemis would not be deterred so easily, for she knew that Niobe's pride would be her downfall. And so she devised a plan to humble the mortal queen and remind her of the consequences of her arrogance. With a wave of her hand, Artemis summoned a mighty storm to descend upon Niobe's kingdom, unleashing torrents of rain and hail upon the land. The people cried out in terror as their homes were battered by the fury of the storm, and Niobe herself trembled in fear at the sight of the goddess's wrath. But even as the storm raged on, Niobe refused to humble herself before Artemis, clinging stubbornly to her pride and defiance. And so Artemis decided to take matters into her own hands, unleashing her divine arrows upon Niobe's children, striking them down one by one as punishment for their mother's arrogance. Niobe, overcome with grief and despair, watched helplessly as her children fell before her, their lifeless bodies littering the ground like leaves scattered by the wind. She cried out in agony, cursing the gods for their cruelty and begging for mercy, but her pleas fell on deaf ears. In the end, Niobe was left alone and broken, her kingdom in ruins and her children dead at her feet. And as she wept bitter tears of sorrow and regret, she realized the folly of her pride and arrogance, for she had brought about her own downfall through her defiance of the gods. Artemis, satisfied that justice had been served, departed from Niobe's kingdom, leaving the mortal queen to reckon with the consequences of her actions. And as Niobe grieved for her lost children and mourned the destruction of her once proud kingdom, she vowed to never again challenge the power of the gods, knowing that to do so would be to invite certain doom.